Welcome to Her Executive Diary, where we pull the curtain on ambition. We are documenting real journeys of women that are building their careers, building businesses, and navigating all of life's seasons. Today, I am joined by an amazing woman, Rodna Ntabeni, who is a leadership development consultant who is building the leaders of tomorrow. She operates across the UK and Africa. She is building a nonprofit and also developing a community of influential women that are stepping and operating in God's given purpose. So let's get into it. Let's pull the curtain back. Rodna, thank you for joining us on our podcast today. I am so excited to have you, and I hope you also feel the same way.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. When Ruth calls, you answer.
Rodna,
No, honestly.
it's me who is honored to have you here, to sacrifice your time and join us, to be able to impart into the women's lives that join us on our podcast is good. You know, what I love about like speaking to you and seeing your journey, and even when we had our chat, is that, you know, as women, we admire the finished product, but actually it's the in becoming that is the true power of what we are capable of. We're not finished products, but every single time we are, you know, we're fighting for our lives, so to speak, and crawling out of the gutter.
Absolutely.
And when we had our pre-interview chat, you led with something that was so powerful, and that's where I want to start with today. You said motherhood gave me the shock of my life. So,
Ooh.
tell me about that.
Okay, so I have two beautiful, beautiful children, and they are my absolute world. However, I think as a very ambitious woman and somebody who's very goal driven, always has been, I was always my family labeled me the go getter. Always been that person. I've just always wanted to go, go, go. And I got married and then I had my kids quite quickly. And I think finding out that I was pregnant absolutely terrified me because I thought the image that I had of motherhood was you then have to park or pause your purpose or your ambition and just become, not just, but become and really pour into your children.
Mhm.
So when I had kids, I was terrified. Oh, Ruth, I was terrified
Yeah.
because I was scared to lose myself. And I did for a while. I think for a season, I lost myself in, I was no longer the old version of Rodna that I once was, who could just pick up a bag and go and travel and do all of these things. I was just a girl, you know,
Yeah.
just a baby girl. And then now I've got this bundle of joy that's looking at me, who needs me to feed them, to do everything for this person. And I found myself losing myself. Like, who is Rodna? The mother. That's now a new title, a new thing. And it carried so much weight. And I found myself thinking, okay, can I still pursue the things that I want to do, or do I have to give myself? And I found myself feeling guilty for wanting more for my life and not just wanting to be a mother.
Yeah. I want to dwell more on that topic because I am in that season. And when you say that, so much of what you are saying, I'm like, yeah, how did she read my mind? For me, you know, when I was speaking to our creative director before, and we're talking about how women think about having kids, right? For a while, I didn't want to entertain the thought of having children because, like you said, when you're ambitious and like, you know, you've got things to do, and sometimes it's not even a thing of, oh, if I have a child, is the responsibility that comes from it. Sometimes it's like your mission. You're like, will I be able to fulfill what God has called me to do if now I'm being pulled? There's like a lot of guilt that comes. And so I remember speaking to my friends that had kids, and they were like, things change when you have. I was like, never. It's not me. I will be able to manage it. I will do what needs to be done. And did baby not come along, like you said, the bundle of joy. But here I was now dwelling in all those echoes of what my friends were saying, the shock. So for you, what did that feel like? You know, when now you realize that this ambitious self that you were is no longer that. What is the shock? Let us like paint a picture for us.
The shock is realizing that you're not living for yourself anymore. The shock is realizing that your body, you once had a body that looked a certain way, and now you're looking in the mirror and you see scars, you see stretch marks, you see things that were not there before. And you're now looking at this version of yourself and you're like, who is this person? I couldn't see myself. I couldn't see who I once was. The spark that was once there was now 3 hours of sleep between feedings. And you're like, I'm having 2 hours of sleep every day. I'm now on maternity leave. And like, what am I supposed to be doing on maternity? I'm a high functioning, high performing person who is now at home being like a homemaker. And whilst I enjoyed it, that was not like, that's not naturally me. And I felt bad for not wanting to be a housewife because I'm not a.
You can't just sit still.
I can't. So I was like going crazy, like scrubbing the walls and doing all these things. So I'm like, I have to do something. It's people telling you to slow down and people having an expectation of what you should and what you shouldn't be doing when you're a mother, telling you slow down, do this. But I'm like, I know me.
And that's not me.
And that's not me. And should I give up my whole life because I'm now a mom? And what does that mean for? And how will my children see me? Like, can I look at my kids in the eye and say, I gave up everything to be your mom? Or can I say, actually, I'm still 100% your mom, but actually I'm an international speaker. Actually, I'm a leadership development coach. Actually, I'm all of these things. And they see me doing the thing that God created me to do. And I also want to be able to tell them, go do it. Like, you have no limits. And I think there's a very big difference between men and women and mothers and fathers. Hey. And there are many a times I love my husband. Love him, love him, love him.
Yes.
I love my husband, but there are many times he'll be sleeping and I'm up, obviously feeding, breastfeeding. And I think it's a different weight that wives and or women or mothers carry to the husbands. Even maternity leave, you take longer. Men don't. Like,
Almost
2 weeks, literally.
2 weeks, and that's it. I love that. I was speaking to my brother-in-law this week, actually, and I was saying, oh, I'm sharing the podcast. And then he raised a point about how women, how women, we think that we can still be the same ambitious self. So he's the reason I met my husband. He knew me for all the things that I was doing, and we worked together. And he was like, "So Ruth, how's ambition going?" It was a joke. But then when we spoke, I thought I wasn't prepared for how many sort of layers of myself I'd have to shred to then be a mother. And then, you see these women that make motherhood everything, right? And that was always something that I was scared of. I was like, when I have a child, I don't want it to be leading as Ruth the mom, Ruth or boy mom, Ruth. And I get it because, children, they are a lot, they bring all the joy. So how do you then not lose yourself in that new identity? Is it an identity? Is it a pillar? How do you incorporate ambition and motherhood together?
I think the moment I saw the test being positive, I think a part of me died. And I don't say that as a bad thing. A version of who I was no longer the same person. The moment I gave birth to my son, I became somebody new. Even if I was to see that version of me in the streets, I wouldn't recognize that person. I'm not that person anymore. Motherhood has added dimension to my life. It's added texture. It's added volume. It's given me a sense of purpose. And I think for a long time, I just didn't know what to do with that. I thought that was just my own purpose. And I think it took me 2 years. I didn't do anything like I just sat. I think I sat and I just enjoyed the time with my kids are 2 years apart. So by the time that I was ready to start moving again, I kind of just had another one. And so I was in a blur of like 3 years until I sat down and I was like, I feel so unfulfilled. Like, I'm fulfilled in being a mom and being a wife, but I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And I can't. And my husband was like, what's stopping you? And I was like, yeah, but I'm a mom. So?
Yeah.
Do you have to choose between your career and motherhood?
Yeah.
I don't think you do. I think it's different, and you have to be able to lay out the different dynamics. So, for example, I can't just spend the whole day working. I've got responsibilities. I've got my children. My kids are very active. They're in activities 5 out of 7 days. You know, they do swimming, gymnastics, all of these things, and I'm present for that. And I make sure that I give them 100%. But when they sleep, I'm now working. I'm now having to wake up early. So it's recognizing that those two things can coexist. You can be a mother and also have a career. You can be a mother and still be an entrepreneur. Motherhood doesn't mean that you push your life on the side. And I think my mum is amazing. Like, she's phenomenal, and she's like my absolute hero. But she did give up her life for her children. She raised us, and there are certain things that she never did and that she actually wishes that she would have done. But she was focused on raising her children, and that was the time. And I have major respect for that. However,
That's not you.
that's not me, and that's okay.
As you're saying that, is literally bringing me to tears. And you said, your husband said to you, what's stopping you? What's being a mom? And, sometimes I do ask myself, because we're fortunate that we've got supportive husbands, and those are the people behind the ambition that people see. And, at times where I share what I want to do, and then it's like, why can't you do it? And I'm like, you have days and hours in your day. For me, the minute I wake up, I'm thinking, right, I gotta prepare the house, right, I gotta think about dinner, right, I have to work, right, oh, Kanye has to go and be dropped here, I have to do this, and then, oh, I finished work, husband's coming back home, I'm still a wife at the end of the day, I now need to do wife stuff, and then, oh, it's time to sleep, I need to sleep because I'm gonna be waking up during the night to feed, and then tomorrow I'm going again. So at what point do I have time for myself? And I'm finding myself having moments where I'm almost negotiating what is my priority. And then there's the mum guilt that's coming, that I'm supposed to, first and foremost, and this goes without saying, I am a mum first. Now that I understand that. It took a while to get to it, but I'm like, I'm a mum first. But then how do I make sure that I'm still finding pockets of time? And I'm very disciplined in that I wake up early, I do all of the things that I'm supposed to do, but I'm just still not finding time. And is there then a resentment of, when your husband and wife, the default parent that just seems to clock in, how do you manage that?
I think, as I said earlier, the dynamics are very different between men and women. And I think what you're describing is the mental load. Women naturally carry the mental load of the house being clean, like having, like, making dinner, also having a job, also having a career, but also being for the most part, somebody who's mostly responsible for the kids. And it's small things like making sure that there's clothes and food is there. I think a lot of the times that falls on the women. So we're carrying all of these like mental things that it's actually very draining to be responsible, or like be the manager in a sense of the home, and still then having time to think about me and my wellness and my well-being, as well as my purpose, or being an entrepreneur. But I think one thing is, and I've really had to learn this over the years, is I can do it all, but I can't do it all at the same time. And recognizing seasons, recognizing that some seasons I'm going to actually have to take business on the back burner for a little while whilst I'm focusing on my kids, or I'm just in this season, I really need to pour into my marriage, or in this season, I really need to pour into my kids. I will never, and you talked about mum guilt, I'll never forget the day I didn't realize my son had it was an assembly and he was getting an award.
Oh.
And I got the email, but I didn't read it. I was just so busy. And at the end of the day, I picked up my son and he's like, Mama, where were you? Oh, Ruth, I'm at every event. But he asked me, so, like, this little 5-year-old at the time, he's like, Mommy, where were you? I was looking for you. But I was so busy doing all of these things, I dropped the ball.
Yeah.
And me and my husband have this thing of, regardless of what my kids have, one parent has to be there. I
have to
travel
show
quite a
up.
I travel quite a bit. So sometimes when you're talking about mum guilt, I miss things. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't want my kids to feel like I'm not there or I'm not present, because I am. But when I'm there, I'm very present. I'm not with, I try and remove the laptops and we play, we do all of these things. But sometimes it's recognizing I can't do it all. I have 24 hours in a day. Some of those hours need sleep. You need to make sure that your husband is good. You know, as your man, you need to make sure that, you know, you look.
All these pillars. Doing makeup, that's already 20 minutes.
Because sometimes it's easy to forget. We
Yeah.
have supportive husbands, but sometimes we're in the house and we can look some type of way. But you have to remember, hey, he married a baby girl.
A true baby
He
girl,
married a fine
regardless of what
babe.
you're going through, you still have to be.
And sometimes like showing up. And sometimes I was like, okay, I'm focusing on my husband this afternoon or this evening. I can't do that. So it's recognizing, okay, what are my priorities in this season? Pick 2 or 3. Those are the things. These are the things that I'm focusing on. Other things, I'll see it as it goes. I used to love going to the gym. I've had to put that on the back burner because I recognize I can't be in the gym 6 days a week as I used to be. In this season, I bought a walking pad. I can do that. I can't do this, but I can do that. What can I pull down, or what can I replace it with, or what's similar that I can do?
Yeah.
And just recognizing that you're a human being. You can't save the world and do all of these things, because you will crash and you'll burn out.
Yeah.
And you'll be no good to anybody when you're empty.
I like that. And I want to ask, while you've been going on in the season, do you think that life ever prepared you for what motherhood would look like? When you look at your parents or you look at how other women were doing, did that prepare you for this shock you then found?
No. I had my kids and I called my mum. I said, sorry, why did you not, what? Sorry, what? I didn't have a baby shower or anything like that. But I had aunts who, tell you about the baby and what to expect. But I'm like, you guys lied to me. I don't know whether it was a lie by omission or what. Nobody ever told me the extremity of how motherhood changes you. And I'm like, those times I was actually mad. I was very mad. I was upset. I was upset everybody.
But everyone.
You didn't tell me the truth. I went in ill-equipped, unprepared. You watch videos. I'm one person who likes to research. Like, you research, but there's theory and then there's practical. Nobody prepares you for that practical and all the emotions, and even postpartum, the emotions, the everything that prepares you for that. I did not feel prepared the slightest.
Yeah. And I think as a high achiever, you always feel that I've got this. I was speaking to a friend and saying, this game, like, there's Shona saying, Kura it, which means grow up and see. When I had my son, I kid you not, I think within 3 months, I called my mom. And I was like, yeah, Mama, I see why they say that, because you made it look so easy. Right? And we're talking, and I wonder, is it a community aspect of things? Growing up, I always say when I came to the UK, I was 11, and we came here, we had the community. I was going to church, we had people, and we're doing a lot of stuff as a community. And now I don't feel that I have that community. It's either my mom, my mother-in-law, or there's nobody else. Did you have a community while you're navigating this, the mom side?
No, is the short answer. I think, agreed. I think times have definitely changed. I came to the UK when I was 5, and there was always like a bunch of family around everywhere. We always had parties. We were always like sleepovers. Like, everyone, there was a huge community, and I think we've definitely lost an element of that community spirit. I have my mom who then decided she wanted to be a baby girl and relocate back to Zim.
Oh no.
As I had my baby, I was like, oh my God. So I had
As you had your baby.
I literally, was before, when I got married, she was like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
So, and then I've got my mother-in-law and a few sisters here and there, but it really is just my household, me and my husband, and my mother-in-law, that really have to like juggle
pull it.
and pull. and it's not easy. And do you know how much nursery fees are?
I didn't.
My goodness.
Now I know.
My goodness.
Now I know. Now I know. And you know, in our culture, they're always saying, like, you know, when are you having kids? When's the second one coming? When's the third one coming? I said, hey, nowadays, my response is, as long as you can give me 30,000 to go through the first 6 years, it's okay. You can say that. I didn't know it was so expensive. And amongst everything else that you're doing. And then you come to have the question, do I go out of my career to then just save on the childcare costs, or do I push to manage that? It's a lot. And I liked what you said. It was so powerful. You said, you know, you can have it all, but not at the same time. And I think a lot of women struggle with that. Instagram, social media, it's made us all a little delulu. And, you know, it's great to be that. But I think it paints a picture that's not realistic. You know, when you've got the career, you're seeing women that have got careers, women that have got, you know, their nannies, their business, all of that, have kids, and it's still like all the balls are still up, so to speak. Like you said, you know, you dropped the ball, but, you know, when you see these women, all the balls are still up. Now, because you operate in the UK and Africa, what is the disparities that you've seen between the two? You can have an African mother, and then you've got Rodna mother. Talk me through that.
There's a community in Africa. You're not the maid, you're not the cook, you're not the clean. Like, you're not trying to do everything all at once.
At the same time.
At the same time. Like, I think in the UK, it really is just like you operate as a lone wolf. You're trying to do everything. And it's very draining and it's very taxing. Whereas in Africa, people have help. There is community. There are maids. There are people. There are people who look after the kids. So it's not you just have to do everything. You can actually relax. Whenever I go to Zimbabwe or anywhere in Africa, I feel like my nervous system regulating because I'm not carrying all of these.
Busy.
I'm not busy. Even when the first thing I do when I wake up, I'm thinking, all right, I need to do this, writing my to-do list and making sure that I get everything. And it's like from the moment I go to bed, to the moment I go to sleep, that I wake up, I'm just like mentally, it's in here. Even if I'm sitting down, I'm mentally like checking off to-do lists. I'm trying to think, okay, if I do this with the influential woman, if I do, like, it's just a lot. Hence why I'm trying to get back to Africa. So if
you and I
sponsors
both
out there who would like to sponsor me back to Africa,
I've been telling you, I'll be your guardian.
I'm not, it's not easy.
I'm ready to be your gardener. And talk me through the transition then from now you've been on maternity and you've gone back to work, right? So you studied law, but you work in tech. Talk me through that journey.
So as I said, I came into England when I was 5, and I always thought growing up in an African household, you didn't have very many options. You either wanted to be a lawyer, a doctor, a nurse. Was engineering even a thing then? I don't think
they knew they had the language for that.
Yeah, it was. So it was either doctor, lawyer, a nurse, and that was really like the aspiration. I've always wanted to study law. Like, that was my dream growing up, because I have such a heart for helping people. Like, I am the human rights defender. In my heart, people like the lawyer. I will defend. It doesn't matter who it is. I will defend you
and you can talk your way through anything.
Literally, like, my brothers used to come to me to get them out of trouble for my parents, and I'd go and negotiate on their behalf. Like, I know he did. Yeah, okay, no, I know. Yeah, he did. But let's just, like, he won't do it again.
Let's examine it.
He won't do it again. Like, I'm that person. So I studied law. And then I did my master's in international development, law and human rights. I wanted to be a human rights lawyer working in NGOs. Like, that was the dream. Like, that was my thing. And then law stole me. Tech poached me. They
saw the brilliance.
They poached me. So I started working in tech, and then now I work in leadership development. So I create leadership development programs for senior leaders. I also coach and do mentoring as well. So I've never really, I've never been an entrepreneur. I don't, even to this day, I think I'm not a born entrepreneur. I'm an academic at heart. Like, I was a bookworm growing up, always in the library, always reading. And I just thought entrepreneurship was for the ones that didn't know how to go to like the unintelligent ones, the ones who
Yeah,
tried
Mm-hmm.
but weren't academic. So I used to literally look down on entrepreneurs like, okay, you guys, you failed in school.
You didn't
so
understand.
so I guess you're gonna have to try and do something else. I've never been that person. I always wanted to climb the corporate ladder. Never understood entrepreneurship. My goodness,
That's
it's like
cultural
what
ways.
is that? What is that?
Going down in generations, isn't it?
What is that?
We
Don't
never got
understand
told
it.
about it, and yet every African is an entrepreneur in some way, shape, form. But yeah, no, continue.
And it was my husband. Fast forward, I've always been a corporate girl, and I love being a corporate girl.
Yeah.
I love this, the aesthetics. I love the status. I love going in the office. I love that.
The structure that's already
I
there.
love it. I'm a corporate babe. And it was my husband who was like, you've got all of these skills. You should probably start thinking about doing something for your own like personal brand. First of all, I was like, what's a personal brand? Like, what is that?
Yeah.
What's a personal brand? And second of all, no, I'm good. I'm okay. I'm getting decent money. I don't like stress. And he really kept encouraging me, like, Rodna, you need to start like diversifying yourself. And he was like, go on social media. First of all, I'm a very private person.
No, we're not doing that.
I am a private person. I don't do that social media stuff. I don't do that. Like, that's not my thing. I'm very happy in tech. I'm very happy doing what I'm doing. And then here we are.
Here we are. I love that. You didn't just start from just this big idea. You're using your skills. But before I come and touch on to how you're using your skills, as a leadership development coach, what are the key themes that you see that sabotage people's success, whether that's in corporate? Because I am like you. I'm very corporate. I'm corporate through and through. It's a struggle with my other entrepreneurial ventures. It's like a tug of war. But tell me, what are some of the themes that you see that evolve? What stops people succeeding?
A mindset. And it's people not believing that they can do it. And I've spoken to a lot of people. I've spoken to senior execs. I worked with people in like sports leaders in rugby, and I've noticed a lot of people know what they need to do. They just either don't know how to do it, or they don't believe that they can. And there's a gap between where you are now and where you want to go. There's this unknown. And sometimes it's like the fear of the unknown. Therefore, I'm just going to stay in this space that's comfortable and I know what I'm doing here. If I leave this space that's comfortable, I don't know what to expect. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know how I'm going to do it. So therefore, I'm not even going to try. And a lot of what I do is mindset work. We're dealing with things like limiting beliefs. What are you thinking about yourself? What are the stories that you tell yourself that nobody sees, nobody knows, but they're here and they're playing inside your head on repeat?
On repeat.
It's imposter syndrome. You feel like a fraud every time you tell yourself that you want to do this. You're like, somebody like me could never do that. And whilst you'll never say it, you'll think it. It's a procrastination. It's all of these things that are happening below them, beneath the surface. And I speak to a lot of people who tell me, I want to do this. And I'm like, okay, cool. As a coach, we'll work together. As a strategist, we'll plan it out. We plan it out. Okay, week 1, how far are you? Oh no, I've been really busy. Well, maybe next week. Okay, next week. Oh no. Okay, no. Let's cut the fluff. What's really going on? What's happening that is stopping you from getting where you said you wanted to go to? It's mindset. There's a lot that is going on that we sometimes are not even conscious. The stories, the things that are on repeat, the people that other people said about you when you were young. I had a teacher who told me, you're not very good at maths. And I grew up believing that I was not good at maths because my teacher, when I was like 7, told me I wasn't good at maths. And that's been playing in here. And I had to then program my mind and say, actually, no, I like maths. I'm good at maths. I'm not gonna accept that. I don't believe that. No.
And a lot of the stuff that you do, especially on your LinkedIn and on your socials, is the knowledge doing gap that you talk about and what you're saying. So I'm in a similar space to you. When you talk about leadership, it starts in the mind. How then do you move from having the mindset? Because I've found with some of my clients that we can work on the mindset. And, the mindset is an ever evolving, ever changing piece of work. It's never you've arrived.
No.
But then they don't then do or act. Like what you're saying, it could be, I'll do it next week, I'll do it next week, I'll do it next week. How can we as women, like, or just people as a whole, how do we get to the doing gap? How do we say, yeah, our mind is okay, now we have to do?
I think, and this is one thing, I'm very passionate about what I do, and I'm passionate about, I like getting results. Like, come to me, we will
For
get
results.
I like getting results. I like seeing things done. I like
That's the corporate
progress.
girly in you, isn't it?
I don't,
KPIs, we must measure it.
you know what I mean? So, and and I've said to a few of my clients, I can't want this more than you. How bad do you really want this thing?
Oof.
Because sometimes we give lip service. Yeah, I want to start up. I want to do. I want to. But do you? No. Do you really? Or does it just sound nice to say?
It sounds
Because
nice.
when you move from it sounds nice to actually I want to do it, your actions will follow. Other than that, when you sometimes you're not ready, and sometimes that's okay.
Yeah.
Do you really want it bad enough? Because when you do, you will move, Ruth. You will start to make movements. Whether they are small movements, you will start to move towards your goal and your destination.
And as a coach, something I struggle with, so I want to ask you the question. How do you feel, or maybe just tell me your thinking around when you see a client and you see the potential and you see what they can do, but then they keep getting in their way? How frustrating and infuriating is that? And how do you deal with that? Because there are moments I'm just like, but this, it almost causes you sleepless nights because you're like, why can't you see the giant in yourself? And I feel like that's what a lot of people are battling with. We know we can do it, but hey, when we look in the mirror, we're not the giants that we are in a way. How do you handle that when you work with your clients?
I think it depends on the client. It depends on the relationship that I have with the client. And sometimes I'll ask for permission depending on our relationship. Like, how honest can I be here? I'm here to guide you as a coach. But actually, sometimes, and a part of my job is to hold the mirror up to you right now. And I'm like, okay, this is who you could be. This is your potential. Do you see that? And sometimes there's a difference between the picture of who they could become and where they are right now. They're seeing where they are right now, but they physically cannot see their potential. And it's my job to then coach and try and use frameworks and try and really help somebody to see themselves the way that everyone around them can see the potential. But sometimes that's not always possible.
Yeah.
There's just a lot going on, and sometimes people just don't see. And I'm also a woman of God. I really like I'm a very big believer that some things are very spiritual. So sometimes like someone cannot and I'm somebody who prays. So I don't just work on the strategy. I'm also like fit in the background. I'm actively like praying, like, God, open this person's eyes, like that they may see who you created them to be.
Yeah.
Because you created them for huge plans, like all of these things, but they're not seeing it. Open their eyes that like that they see how great they are.
Excuse me. And with that, Rodna, when you look at yourself and with the leadership work that do you ever go through moments of facing what your clients may face? Does self-doubt ever creep in? Because, I'm looking at this woman. Yes, she's doing the development work. She is, her mission is to help other women and help other leaders step into their full potential. You're also building, right? And stepping into the entrepreneurship. Do you ever have the lingering self-doubt, so to speak, and how do you overcome that?
I think it's normal to have the thoughts like, oh, really? Like, can you really do this? I think the problem is not the thoughts. The problem is what you do when you get the thoughts.
Yeah.
So I will sometimes I'm like, I get an idea and I start running with it, and then halfway through I'm like, oh, why?
What is this?
Can't I just sit down and rest? And then these thoughts come, but for a moment I'm like, I don't accept that. Like, I don't accept that thought. Like, I will literally, sometimes I'll actually say, I reject that. Like, I physically reject that thought.
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to smallness. I don't subscribe to, don't tell me I can't. Because I would then work day and night to prove wrong.
You wrong.
I can. Like, I genuinely believe right now, if you would say, rather fly a plane, give me time. I'll fly that plane. I will fly that plane.
that.
And I listen to a lot of audios, and I listen. Most of my day I'm listening to something that's stirring up my faith and my delulu. Because sometimes you need to get into like rooms that think the way that you think and will push you. So I have to I'm literally always listening to something that encourages me. No, there's more. Other people have done amazing things. They don't have 4 eyes. They don't have 2 noses. They've got the same brain and the same everything that I have, they have. So if they can do it, so can I.
Yeah, I like that. I think it's very powerful that actually when you get a limiting belief thought, you have to interrogate it and refuse to be small. I'm curious to know, what do you listen to? You said you listen to audios. What are your favorite? What do you listen to?
I listen to, oh my gosh, from the age of 17, 16, I've been listening to Miles Monroe.
I knew it.
From the age of, and I would look at him as a 16-year-old girl, like one day I am going to be like this man.
Yes.
Every single, no week goes by that I don't listen to Miles Monroe. I've listened to his messages on repeat. Like I can even tell sometimes I'll put my phone down and I know which one's are AI because I have listened to the messages.
this guy.
I know. I listened to Miles Monroe. I listened to the things like the Diary of a CEO. I listened to the audio Bible. I listened to Myron Golden. Yeah, so things that push me to think bigger
and
differently.
I like that. I'm so sorry. I am a fan of Miles Monroe, and I wish I would have met him,
honestly,
when he was still alive.
I've read all his books.
There are moments, Rodna, especially this season that we're speaking in of this motherhood, that I'm like, yeah, I know there's things I need to do, but I can't be bothered. I don't want to do it. I just can't. And then I go and listen to Miles Monroe. And the latest thing that I listened to and that stuck with me, and I know now with AI, there's a bit of, mixing, but the message is still the same and I still like it. And it was like, discipline is a form of self-love. Hey, baby, did I not get up?
Very quickly.
I got up off my seat. I went to the kitchen. I did the dishes. And I was like, right, I gotta work because do I love myself? And I think it's so important. Like you said it, sometimes you have to, listen to things that change the way that you think so you can see yourself bigger than where you are, right? So let's talk about influential women, because here you are, you're developing leaders in corporate.
Yeah.
How have you used your corporate knowledge to build the influential women? And I also want to throw something to you, because we're corporate girls, right? I'm always hearing about like this whole quit your job. And don't get me wrong, I think if you can do it, absolutely fantastic. If you can do the whole entrepreneurship, it just takes a lot to do. But now that you are now also corporate entrepreneur, career is a plan B or what? How do you build from where you are?
Can I tell you something, Ruth? The year before last, I was like, actually, no, I don't think I want this corporate thing anymore. I'm going to step out into entrepreneurship. I took a sabbatical for 6 months off work.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to do this whole corporate thing. I'm going to do this whole entrepreneurship thing. Like, I'm going to make it.
I did it in corporate. I can do it here now.
I was miserable.
Yeah.
I missed corporate.
The check-ins.
I missed the structure. I missed the learning, the knowledge, the everything. And I really went back after 6 months like, hey,
do you have jobs?
You still have a job for me? But I've learned everything that a lot of what I know now, I've learned in corporate. So I have a lot of respect for corporate. I have a lot of respect for the system and the process and the advancement. I said I'm a coach. I'm a certified. I have to say certified because not
a lot of people are calling themselves coaches out here, but
certified accredited coach.
I love that,
and I got that opportunity through work. They paid for me to go and develop myself. So I was thinking, okay, so I do this thing in my day job, in my corporate life. What business can I start? My husband was literally pushing me to start being entrepreneurship. And I'm like, I don't know how to do this. I don't even know where to start. I don't know anything about this world. And I started thinking, okay, let's break this down. Let's simplify it. And I started coaching myself. What do you enjoy? I love developing people. I love seeing people go from point A to point B. I love giving them the tools, the strategy, and the know-how of how to do it. I know how to do it. I love to do it, and I do it very well. So then I was like, okay, well, I know I've been doing this for like 8 years plus. How could I use what I'm already doing
to build this business?
to build my personal brand and my business? And one of the pain points that really used to upset me, or still does upset me, and that's why I started the Influential Woman, is I had access and opportunity in these rooms in tech, but I wasn't seeing anybody that looked like anybody that looked like me, that talked like me. And there's a very big gap. Where are ethnic minority women in certain spaces?
And especially in corporate, you really see the disparities. That is the story of my life to this day. And I've been in my industry for more than a decade, 12, 13 years, and so many rooms. I traveled the world and I was like, oh, I'm finally going to, oh, right. Same story.
Where are we? What are we doing? And it really became something that was bothering me. And I started the Influential Woman because I was tired of being in certain spaces and not seeing my sisters and my friends, my neighbors, and all of the people that look like me. And I really believe representation is very important. So I opened it up as a platform where women and the title influential woman, everybody's influential in their sphere of influence. As a home, you have the ability to influence and have sway over your house. So even if you're a homemaker, you're you are the influential woman.
Yeah.
So I created it as a platform for us to not only have events, but actually like have masterclasses, grow, be empowered, have coaching sessions where people can feel empowered and inspired enough to go into those rooms and go into whatever sphere of influence is theirs, whether it's beauty, dominate that industry, whether it's art, go and be the influential woman in that room against all odds. So that was the heart behind the Influential Woman, because I'm like, where are we? Let's gather together. Let's learn from each other. I have skills. You have skills. We have skills. Let's create a network and a space where we can amplify our voices, where we can share from each other and learn from each other and grow from each other, and go and do damage.
And do damage. I love that. I absolutely love that. And I love the name as well, Influential Women. And this is the first time I'm hearing you speak about the reasoning behind, everybody is influential, whether it is that you're in a business, in a career, in your home, still figuring it out in your sphere of influence. I absolutely resonate with that point because, I hear stories of so many women that would be like, oh, like we went to that event, that lady was like, oh, I'm just a carer.
I'm just
A carer. But she's an influential woman.
Exactly.
Because in that business, she's dominating. So you wonder like how many other people feel that way, especially those that have also had to give up certain aspects like career or business to be in a season of motherhood or to be in whatever season that may look like. How do I still be that influential woman?
And I have like I was coaching someone who was like, oh, well, I'm just a mother. I'm like, what?
Do you know how hard motherhood is?
Just a mother. You're working 24/7. You are raising a generation of children. Like, that's not something that's small.
Right.
How are you seeing your responsibility as a mother? You're not just a mother. You are a mother. You are raising kings. You're raising queens. You're raising the next generation. Generations down the line, though, there are people that will be saying, my great, 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 great grandmother was so good. She instilled skills and knowledge and wisdom into my dad or whoever. And that has a ripple effect. So you're not just a mother. What?
You are phenomenal. I just want to sit in that, right? Because you're building a community and you and I were in similar spaces. How hard is it to sustain a community? Because people see the events, they see the influential women, they see the master classes, they see Rodna on camera. But what does it take for you in your own perspective?
I think I'm building. I'm flying as I'm building the plane. I'm building influential women whilst doing all of these things. It takes a lot of trial and error. I don't always, there's sometimes I'm like, oh, actually, no, this will be great, but I actually realize it's not, and have to pivot. Sometimes lose money, doing events. You think you see a lovely event and you think, wow, there's just so much profit from all of these things. Sometimes that's not always the case.
No.
And it's really from a place of passion and a place of purpose that
Yeah.
sometimes you do these events. It takes a lot. And you think sometimes maybe we have all the answers, but that's not always the case. I'm learning as I'm building, as I'm growing, I'm learning. I'm learning things about myself. I'm being stretched. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah.
Or even just being in front of the camera. It's taken me 2 years.
Oh, you're doing a fantastic
It's literally
job.
taken me my husband, for the past 4 years, my husband was like, you need to start like recording videos. And I was like, absolutely not. Never. Never could it be me. It could never be me. Never. And it took me 2 years of working on myself to actually like feel confident enough to start posting content. And do you know what I did? I didn't try this at home. I was like, okay, I'm going to start posting. I deleted all my followers on Instagram because I was like, okay, I'm going to start from scratch. Who does that? But that was like my, okay, well, no one's watching. Yeah, like literally, I was like, oh, well, no one's watching, so I can start doing it. So yeah, it's progress. It's
Yeah, I
ongoing.
like that. Because you know what? You're right. People see the events and they think there's money, but every single day you are fighting, literally. And I want to just dwell on a point that you mentioned about the finances, because, like I said, I understand you. How do you manage ambition when you are married and you also have to report back on finances?
Ruth. Hey,
Because when two are joined, they become one. But Rodna is still ambitious. Rodna still has things that she wants to do. Ruth wants to be doing up Zimbabwe and doing all these things.
doing gallop all around the world.
Do you know? And yet, these things must be paid for, because you're right. You know, for me, why I'm in women empowerment and development in that space, I sincerely believe that is my mission. That's what God has called me to be. When I do these events, it's not even out of like, I'm going to make money, because first of all, you don't make money, but it's purely out of like, this is where I get my fulfillment.
It has to be, yeah.
But fulfillment costs.
And boy, does it.
How do you manage that?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. I think it's a loaded question. Being a wife, but also being ambitious. I think it takes a lot of navigating. Sometimes I dream, Ruth. I dream. Yeah, I'm a dreamer. I'm a dreamer. I'm going to do this, and we can do this, and they can do this. And sometimes I'll see the end picture of how something should look, but I don't really calculate how the costs and the finances.
How I'm going to get there.
So now I'm telling my husband, oh, I think I have got an idea. I don't know. What do you think? And he's like, oh, that sounds great, but so where's the money coming from? How do you propose we do this? I'm like, I don't really know, but I know that it's possible.
Yeah.
And my husband keeps me very much in check, because sometimes my dreaming is without real like strategy and process.
Structure in between.
So then he keeps me responsible, because he's like, okay, so what's the plan? And now I have to start looking and actually putting a plan in place. But there are also some times where I'll see something and I know I know this thing is going to work. I don't have language for it and I don't have the money for it, but I know if we do this, it'll work. And sometimes they won't understand. And there are times where he's been like, well, I don't know, but then it's worked. And he's been like, okay.
Yeah.
So it's knowing when this thing is like, okay, and like really communicating. You have to know, like, you have to know your person, and your person has to know you. I think communicating that and knowing each other that, yeah, you've got ambition, but you still got a mortgage to pay, and you still got bills, and you still got all of these things. So you can't just do all of these things. It's also respecting and recognizing that your husband is your husband. And in my, like, I guess I'm very traditional. Like, my husband is the head of the home. If he says no, like, if he's like, nah, we're not doing it. Not doing it. That's locked off. Like, we're not doing it. We're not doing it. So I know when I'm coming to my husband, I'm coming correct. I'm coming with figures. I'm coming with an idea. I'm coming with something that's solid in place. I already thought about what he's going to say, and I've got the answer to that. Yeah. And then sometimes he'll be like, okay, I'll think about it. Oh. Hey, your heart will be sitting in like, I'll think about it. Waiting for the decision. So for how long are we thinking? Business? Are we talking tomorrow? Yeah. Or so yes, I'm an ambitious somebody, but actually I'm a wife. And I want to pull on that, right? You are this boss babe. You're handling your career. Like, corporate ain't got nothing on you because you've mastered the game. And here you are, building influential women, building a community, having a tribe of women that are looking up to Rodna also to pull them, because Rodna now is the blueprint of what they're trying to achieve. And yes, you're also being a wife, you're handling all of those things. So how do you go from being this boss babe when you're outside of the house and then getting into the house and submitting as the wife? You are just on fire with these questions. I'm asking for my benefits too over here. Do you know what? I've been married for 8 years now, and it's taken a lot of learning. Haven't always got it right, if I'm being very honest. Sometimes, or very early in my marriage, I thought, I'm this person, like, I'm a corporate, and you now just try to bring corporate at home. Yeah. But corporate doesn't work at home. Nope. You have to learn to leave corporate at the door. You are a leader at your workplace. You are this person out there. But when I'm at home, I'm Mind Ntabeni. I am a girl. Like, I don't take out bins when I'm at home. Yeah. I don't take the groceries out. You're not doing no struggle at home. You're the boss babe. I don't even want to be a boss babe. Like, what are we doing? What do you think we should do? Yeah. And I'm learning that you can be one thing out there, but you can still be soft. My husband didn't marry the influential woman. My husband didn't marry the leadership development. He married Rodna, his wife. And he needs me to be soft and to be a wife and to be caring and cuddly and warm and sexy. Sexy. And sometimes more on that. And sometimes, like, when I'm deep in something, he'll come and I'm like so engrossed in this thing. Yeah. And I'm like, I won't even see him. But it's like reminding, no, that's my husband. Like, that's my man. I like that. That is my man. And I have to constantly remind myself, be soft. Yeah. Soften up. Like, leave that one at the door. Stop doing that. I don't know how to do anything. I don't know how to lift up anything. You don't even know how to lift this glass. So it's also here. Like honoring him as my husband and giving him his respect as my husband. There are, and even I don't do this all the time, but when I get a chance, like, I will literally, like, he says he hates it, but I don't think he does. Like, even like washing his, like, literally, like, washing his hands, giving him, like, serving him food. What do you want to eat? Just, like, not food as ego, but like, just showing him, like, so the daddy, I know you are there. I am here. I'm your woman. That's all he wants. Like, men are very simple. Like, men are actually very simple. Yeah. Do you know what? The reason I asked that is because I have a little sister. But beyond that, I speak to a lot of young girls, and there's this whole rise of boss babe coming out. And then the boss babe is now saying, I don't need a man. I need a man. Boss babe. Me, I need a man. I need my man. I don't subscribe. I unsubscribe. Yeah, you and I both. I need my man. I'm a boss babe car. But when I park outside my house like this, I take off the badge. And then you go home. Boss babe. Like, now, Mrs. Take me. You want to go that? Oh my God. Take you into your arms. Because men don't want boss babe. That version of yourself. They don't. It's just recognizing and being able to compartmentalize. Yeah. I'm here when I'm at home. And Mrs. Yeah. I'm not
just
the influencer. No, I know
out here.
this.
And I think it's powerful that we have to remind women that you can be this great woman, but it's also understanding the roles that are in your life. Yes, being a mother, but also being a husband is recognizing that you can't bring those same corporate principles. I also have
Hasn't worked. I've tried it.
Into your house. In your house, you be the wife. And when you're out there, yes, you can be both. And how amazing is it to find somebody who understands that? Somebody who gives grace, because when we're in the house, he knows that he's the head of the house. But when you're out there, you're busting it out. He's got the camera. Like that's my woman over there. You know, how amazing is that, hey?
I have so much respect for my husband because he is in my corner.
Yeah.
And it's not easy being married to an ambitious somebody. No, it isn't. It's not easy at all. The ideas, the him having, like, it takes a lot. And so for him to be like, no, like, you do what you need to do. I will always support you. He's had every idea. He's had every rant, every cry, every this is not working. This is I'm not doing this anymore. He's there.
Yeah.
And he pray. Oh my gosh, that man prays for me like I've never seen.
Amazing.
Like, he is there, and he will still always push me. Even when sometimes I conflict. I'm like, I don't know, and I don't know if I always get it right because I am ambitious, but I'm like, but I also want my husband to just find me like as a girl, you know? I just want to be cute.
Yes.
And it's knowing when to take off that hat and put this hat on, and then take this hat off, and now you're putting this hat on. And it's not always as clear cut. It's not
No,
as
it's a
easy.
beautiful thing. And I think there's a conversation that needs to also be had with men, because taking care of an ambitious woman, yeah.
And sometimes they think because we are this ambitious, we don't need love,
We don't need
and
the
care and
help.
all of these things.
I always say I'm the biggest crybaby in my house. Like you said, I don't lift a glass. I'm like this petal.
I'm like an egg.
It's delicate.
I'm an egg. I'm literally an egg. I break. I bruise easily. But people don't see that outside. They just see this version. But in my house,
I'll see you.
oh, I bruise. Don't bruise me. Treat me gently. I just want to be loved, cared for. I mean, chocolate.
So, as we wrap up, I do want to ask influential women, you're building in public because you've been very vocal about your journey and you're bringing people into that. As we said, sometimes, you're building while being the blueprint, and you're also building mid-air and trying to put propellers on to just stay up there. Do you feel pressure being the role model that you never signed up to be?
Absolutely. When I have people in my DMs saying, you're really inspiring me, you're really encouraging me, can I work with you? When I have young girls who send me messages, sometimes I'm like, but I'm not even arrived. Like, I'm trying to,
I'm still working it out.
I'm still working, like, I'm still trying to figure this thing out. But I've learned that even if I haven't arrived to my destination, I'm going somewhere, and people can see that. And I think that's one beauty about building in public is people can see what you're building, and people can recognize, actually, if Rodna can do it, I can do it. If Rodna can do this, I can do this. And I used to find it very uncomfortable building in public because I don't want to be I didn't sign up to be a blueprint. Or I didn't sign up to be a role model or anything of that. But I realized it's very important for people to see an example and for it to encourage them. There are certain, like, and I remember before I even started the Influential Woman, like, seeing what you were doing, and I thought, wow. And like, I'm not even just saying it, like, I remember seeing an exec branch, I'm like, how is she, like, that is really cool, like, that is so inspiring. But I saw it. Imagine if you weren't doing it, I would not have a blueprint or a version of, oh, this can be done. Oh, women can do these things, and they can be in these spaces, and they can grow, and they can build. So I think it's important for people to be able to see people like us visible and doing the thing, even if it feels uncomfortable, because then you're now doing something that you didn't sign up for.
Uncomfortable road. No. It's complex. I think building in public, it's understanding how much
of
yourself do you put up there, and how much do you strip back, because you want people to fully grasp who you are. Because, we live in a world where people buy from people. They don't understand the person behind the brand. How can they buy into the brand? So it's just a lot, I think, to take in when you are in that position and this representation. I think that's the cost of visibility, or the cost of being the first, or the cost of doing things right, that people don't always necessarily see. But it weighs very, very deep.
But I think that's why I love spaces like this, where one thing I don't like about social media is you see the polished version and you see everything like, wow, when it's all done and it's all glamorous and everyone looks good. And that's a wrong picture, because you've shown somebody one side. You didn't show somebody the sleepless nights, the things you did, the money you've lost, and all of these things. So having a platform like this where people are able to see the person behind the brand, or see the person behind all of these things that people are doing, and you see this person is just like me. This person goes through the same things or has the same limiting beliefs that I have. They have the same things, but they're doing it. So I love this platform and this space because it's showing realness and authenticity, which you don't always see online, and I think is dangerous.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for those encouraging words.
You go.
Like you said, this is weight off my shoulders, and it's lovely to hear it from someone who we are operating in the same space, like I said, to have something like that to say. So thank you so much. As we wrap up, I want to give you the last word. What would you say to the woman that is going through different seasons right now? Perhaps it's making sense, perhaps it's not. They have the skills, they're thinking about, what do I build? What would you say to them?
There is absolutely nothing that you cannot do. I believe if you've got breath in your lungs, it means that God has put you on this earth for a reason. There is a solution that you are here to solve. There is a problem that is there that has your name on it. I don't believe God just puts people on this earth just to while up time. You are not born to just get a job and then die. I think there's more to you. And I think it's important that you understand your worth and your value and how important you are. Even if you don't believe it, and even if it doesn't make sense right now, you are valuable. There was many years ago, I used to think, oh, I don't know what to do with my life. I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing. And it didn't make sense. But I took small steps, whether it's just posting a video, posting content, or signing up that business or registering the business. Taking small steps consistently gets you to your destination. You don't have to drop all the bridges. You don't have to burn all bridges. Just making small, consistent steps will get you to your destination. Don't try and do everything all at once. One step at a time. Recognize where you want to go and start making movements. A desire is nice. It sounds nice. You know what you want to do. Now start implementing and actually taking steps to get there. That's the missing piece that I see that people don't do, is the action. So start taking action.
Thank you for that. I think what you've articulated is that every season requires recalibration, from motherhood, from careers, from business, from all the different seasons. You just need to calibrate yourself. You can have it all, not at the same time, but it doesn't mean that you can't have it all. And every woman needs to strive to discover and identify what all means to them, because not all is the same for everyone. I am so, so honored to have you on this podcast episode today. How can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so I'm across all social media platforms, also my website, rodnantabeni.com. You can also find the Influential Woman on Instagram, on LinkedIn. We have events, we've got masterclasses, we've got courses this year. Do not build alone. Please do not try and build alone. It's very lonely, it's isolating, it's discouraging. There are communities out there that will help you, that will support. You need like-minded women who will encourage you when you're down. And these are the spaces and the platforms for us to grow together. We're going to the top and we'll get there together. Okay? We're not going alone, we're getting there together. So be found in those spaces, in those rooms.
And please be sure to subscribe and connect with the Influential Woman and Rodna as a whole, so that you can find your tribe of women. Like you've summarized it. Don't do it alone. deal with the tribal women who are in the same space, who are even beyond you, but what they will do is pull you up. So thank you so much, Rodna, for having us. And thank you for joining Her Executive Diary. Until next time, I'm Ruth Kudzai.